Trojan Sports Now.
Welcome back to Trojan Sports Now, where it's beginning to look a lot like football season. The Trojan football team is preparing for its first game of the season this Saturday against Austin Peay. Now, before we take a look at this weekend's matchup, let's first take a look at the first scrimmage of fall camp.
Through 13 practices, I'm pleased.
Football season is now just over 2 weeks away as the Trojan football team closes out its offseason with fall camp.
This team is maturing, and I think we've added some pieces, some junior colleges, some high school pieces that are going to help us as we move into the fall.
And among those new pieces to the team is freshman running back Jahmal Fry, who on Saturday showcased his speed with 2 plays going for over 50 yards.
And he's fast. He's a guy that will add a different dimension to us, not only on offense running the football, but he can catch the ball out of the backfield. We'll line him up and empty some, and then we'll use him in the kickoff return game.
And as for the defensive side of the ball, one may say that expectations are pretty high.
Our expectations are to throw at our opponent, and every snap we don't want to give up a yard. As a matter of fact, if they complete a pass, then we're jarred up.
We have the possibility of being at least a top 25 defense in the country. It's just a little thing we got to fix and put those missing pieces to the puzzle together, and we'll become a better defense.
You know, as a group, I think we're coaching these guys to be tough-minded, and with the mentality, with the hungry mentality defensively that, you know, there's not going to be any bend and break mentality with this group.
And after media day in the first scrimmage of fall camp, the Trojans hit the field once again to finish out the fall with one last scrimmage. And from the first scrimmage, head coach Neil Brown said he was happy the Trojans still had time to prepare for the first game of the season. And with the second scrimmage, I found out just how much the team had improved. Saturday, Neil Brown's Trojan football team held their second scrimmage of the fall. And just like last week, Coach Brown is still looking for improvement.
Offensively, I started slow. Silver's been out with strep throat, and he didn't react very well to that today. Threw a couple good picks, or a couple bad picks that he shouldn't do as a guy that's in his third year as a starting quarterback.
It wasn't all bad criticism, though, as Coach Brown mentioned the play of his second half offense.
Pleased with the offense second half. Come out for the second scrimmage in a row and really move the ball up and down the field.
With the struggles that Coach Brown mentioned earlier from the offense, some of that has to go to the defense as well, giving them credit for how well they've played as of late and the progress that they've made over the past year. 3
interceptions by that first unit on defense, and we stress takeaways all the time. And those guys stepped up and did that today. And we're better defensively than we are offensively. And the big reason is behind that is we got veterans on defense.
And after today's scrimmage, Coach Brown said he's still disappointed in some players. However, there is one player, an incoming freshman, that is leaving his mark on this team. And that player is Jahmal Fry. The true freshman made a few standout plays and already has his coach figuring him into the offense.
He's a guy that we're going to try to get in space. We're going to try to get him touches, and he's earned that right in fall camp. Through these 19-20 practices, he's shown that he's ready to play as a true freshman.
Jahmal Kennedy, Troy Trojan Vision Sports.
And as Neil Brown continues to shape his team the way that he wants, he's moving some guys around and trying them at new positions. Now, one of those guys is Blaze Brown, a kid who began at wide receiver, but after the spring was moved over to an evolving defense that continues to get better under defensive coordinator Vic Coney.
So we played him a lot with the ones at corner, and I thought he showed up a lot, and really pleased, really happy for him. Really been selfless through the whole transition. Saw himself as a wideout. He was behind some guys. We moved him to corner and done a great job. Moved him in the summer, learned the position, came in fall camp, been ready to play.
He's special, man. Me and him always stayed out to do drills, unlike today because we had a scrimmage. But he's a learning guy. He loves learning a new position, and I'm happy he embraced the new position.
Neil Brown's defense will look to make plays against an Austin Peay offense that will take on the Trojans.
Now that fall camp has come to a close, we're now so incredibly close to the start of football season and the first Saturday of the 2016 Trojan season. Now the Trojans are preparing for their first opponent, and you can already tell the excitement is building.
And we're eager to get the season started.
After 21 months, Neil Brown is now heading into his second year as the head coach of the Troy football team. And on Saturday, he'll take the field with his team for the first game of the 2016 season against Austin Peay.
It's huge for our football team to be opening here and to play that 6th game at home. It's going to be really vital to us, especially with the young football team that we'll talk about here in a second.
This young Trojan team has only 15 seniors, And as for Saturday, Coach Brown says a total of 27 Trojans will dress out for their first Division I game. And 17 of those 27 will see playing time.
We're talented. The new guys can play. It's just time. It's time to put them out there and see how they're going to react.
And aside from the new players, the Trojans will feature a few familiar faces on Saturday.
Opening up a first game against anybody at home. I mean, we already know how the sound of the South is going to be, how the fans are just waiting for us to do something, just play a game. So, I mean, our level of excitement is probably only going to be on probably about 10. So, can't wait to play.
We're all excited. We're ready to kick off, go get someone else and other than ourselves. And it's been a long year, you wait for this week for a long time.
We've been going at it for about a good 3 weeks. I'm pretty sure we're ready to go against somebody else.
The countdown continues to this weekend and the first Saturday of college football as the Troy Trojans continue preparation for Austin Peay. And looking at the defensive side of the ball, the Trojans seem to be looking pretty good.
That's probably the best defense, definitely, since I've been here.
On Saturday, the Trojan football team will feature 27 players dressing out for their first Division I football game. Head coach Neil Brown has said the offense, though losing over 70% of its production from last season, is an improved unit. And as we heard from quarterback Brandon Silvers, expectations are pretty high for the Trojan defense.
Our front seven is fast and quick, a lot of blitzes, a lot of good defensive calls. So it's going to be great to watch them play this year.
Defensively, our strengths should be up front.
And those players up front include Rashad Dillard, a preseason first-team all-conference senior, a Trojan who says being called the best Troy defense to take the field in recent years carries a lot of expectation.
With that title, being one of the best he's ever seen, I mean, a lot is required. So we say every day, we're going to take it one day at a time. We're going to go out here and show everybody how good we are. But we're trying to remain humble and just focus on the little things.
And as for the rest of the defense, Brown says the unit is much improved.
Our front seven, we got 4 senior linebackers that are interchangeable, on the depth chart. Not really sure who's going to start yet. Those guys have been really unselfish and set the tone on the defensive side of the ball. And the secondary, that's going to be much improved from a year ago.
This Saturday's game against Austin Peay will begin at 5 p.m. in Veterans Memorial Stadium.
And as the Trojan football team prepares for its first game of the season, this weekend the Trojan volleyball team is also preparing to take the court in a doubleheader on Friday in the Trojan Invitational. The Trojans are in search of their 3rd and 4th wins of the season. So far, the team is 2-2 on the year, having beaten USC Upstate to start the year and Southeastern Louisiana earlier this week. The Trojans will hit the court in Trojan Arena against Southern at noon for the first game of the doubleheader, but will turn around right after with a matchup against Valparaiso at 7 p.m.
And with football preparing for its first game this weekend and soccer and volleyball already in season, there's one other Trojan squad gearing up to begin its season. The Trojan cross-country team will lace up for its first meet on Friday at Jacksonville State. And when looking at this Trojan team, you'll find players who are ready to compete and a head coach with some experience under his belt.
I'm very excited about this season. I think it's cliche for every coach to say they're excited when the season starts. This time I really have a handle. It's my 3rd year here. I really have a handle on what to expect from the competition, the area, and the kids that we've recruited as a staff. So I'm excited to see where they're at. This is the first one. Let the we take the gloves off and get after it.
Once again, the Trojans will race in action on Friday at Jacksonville State.
And while the volleyball team takes the court in Trojan Arena, the Troy soccer team will be in action in Tennessee against UT Martin. Head coach Jason Hamilton and his Trojans are 4-1 so far this season and are coming off a win earlier this week against Alabama State. Friday's game against UT Martin will begin at 7 p.m. And that's all the time we have for Trojan Sports Now. Check us out online at youtube.com/Troy Trojan Vision to catch anything you missed.
For Jahmal Kennedy, I'm Ryan Renfrow. Thanks for watching us, and as always,
Go Trojans!